It's time to become grown and sexy through excellent health. I am your host, Brother Sekou, and right now that is what we want to talk about. All things health, uh, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. So let's get down to it. Okay. Now let's talk about excellent health. The thing about excellent health is that it is in fact sexy. And this is for the grown folks I'm talking to. Because again, remember when we were young and you could just run around all day, eat what you want, and you never felt sluggish, never felt any bumps or bruises, never had that back pain? Well, we want to get back to those types of things. And we want to do it in a healthy, natural way. So again, let's talk all things health. Now, what I like to say is the first things first. You are what you consume on all levels. Okay. You are what you consume. But let's talk about you are what you eat. Okay. Let's start there first because that's the one that we have heard so many times. But we've heard it so many times, we've gotten just pretty much used to it. Okay. You are what you eat. We know that, we hear that, but it doesn't really sink in. But let's think about that for a minute because we cannot debate the fact that you are what you eat. So, if in fact you are what you eat, what does that say about us? What is inside of us? Now, a lot of times you're going to think about some of the things that I say, and because of that, we do call this a thinking program because, again, you're going to hear stuff that's going to make you say, hmm, I never really thought about that. If you're in my generation, you remember a guy named Arsenio Hall who used to say things that make you go, and that's what we're going to do. So let's talk about it. When we're talking about the things that we eat, let's look at a lot of what we eat. Um, Now, again, I'm not trying to sway anybody. I just want you to think about this if we are, in fact, what we eat. So let's talk about chicken, beef, pork, lamb, turkey, all those things of that nature. If, in fact, we're eating dead animals, yes, if, in fact, we are eating and consuming dead animals, that is inside of our body. Now, let's take it here. You're eating a dead carcass. What is that? What comes from it? What does it attract? And if we're eliminating it, we're not always eliminating all of it, but whatever it takes in, we're also taking in. Again, I don't want to get into the specifics, but you guys can understand, you ladies and gentlemen can understand where I'm coming from. When you eat the dead animal, you're eating the dead carcass of that animal. Now, maggots, flies, parasites, the list goes on, but it's dead. That my point is dead. Now, if we're eating live food, some people like to call it raw food, uh, fruit and vegetables, things of that nature, then our body is alive with energy and enzymes and things along those lines. Because again, if we are in fact what we could eat, then we have to take in and realize what it is that we're taking inside of our body on a daily basis. Now, people will say, you know, something like, I've heard all kinds of statements, well, I'm gonna die happy. And that's not even an ignorant statement. That's beyond ignorant without for lack of a better word, because if you've ever seen someone die, rarely are they dying happily. The pain they're going through, the regrets they're going through. So we want to be a little bit more intelligent about what we put in our bodies, because again, a lot of the foods that we're putting into our bodies, let's just get away from the dead animal flesh. Let's talk about the GMOs, as we know, genetically modified food. There's no way in the world that was uh made for us by the creator. But it's just not. You know what I'm saying? There's a guy or woman in a lab creating a food. Like let's again, we got to think about these things, because if we have children or grandchildren, they're taking in what we tell them to take in. They're taking it, they trust us. So again, we're here to think about, because if we're gonna get back to getting sexy, we got to start and be natural and talk about what we eat. Okay? Food is it sustains life. Water, food and water. So we'll talk about, liquor and different things like that, but we want to talk about good, clean water. Okay? We don't take enough water in the body. And again, let's go back to the basics. If 70%, give or take, is made up of water, are we consuming 70% of water? That right there will tell us, kind of why your body doesn't feel the way it should feel. Why is it not operating the way it should operate? Not because of your age. We've seen people 60, 70 years of age that still can run marathons, not as fast as they used to be able to run them when they were 20, but that's not the point. The point is, when you can actually consume what the body was naturally consumed or designed to do, you can operate and be sexy, which again is being healthy. And again, that's what we're going to stay on, because sometimes when people talk about health, it gets very boring. I know we got to be entertained, but then let's be entertained with getting our sexy back, okay? Because if we are in fact feeling good, you feel sexy. When you can do things in your 50s that you could do when you were 20, you feel better. And a lot of that comes from what? The foods that you're taking into your body. They sit there, they don't digest properly because they were not designed for us. Okay? So again, without preaching, I'm just going to give you some facts. Like, you understand, if you had a piece of steak, how long that steak stays in your system. It's as soon as you eat it, you just want to lay down, take a nap, or you just like, oh man, I need to walk this off. But a lot of times we don't walk it off. We're just kind of sitting there, relax. Oh, that was a good. It tastes good. That is the only, and that's the only thing. When we say something about food, the only thing we're talking about is how good it tastes. Well, what are the other benefits to it? Does it give me energy? Does it make me maintain my weight? Does it help me think clearly? That's a whole nother thing we're going to get into. A lot of these foods that we eat with the chemicals and genetic modification, all these things on top of the food, it's being made in a lab. How exactly do you think that helps your thinking? We are not of clear brain when we're taking in all these foods, the sugars, the sugar substitutes. Now people are trying to get away from sugar, and we're in the lab now. The scientists are now making sugar substitutes, which end up tracing back to cancer and all different types of tumors. Again, not into a whole lot of fear mongering, but it's the truth. We have to face the reality. Okay, and that's all we're doing. If we're gonna get back sexy, if we're gonna get back healthy, if we're gonna get our children healthy, we have to face the reality of what we're eating. Okay, and again, I understand we're in a fast-paced life because we're all in the same life. So a lot of times you don't want to cook. You don't have time to cook. You had a full day, and it's easy to go through the drive-through. But really, we don't even know where the burger comes from. Is it even a hamburger? Or is it something produced? Like, we're talking about food. We're talking about sustenance of life. And we're getting it out of a box. We're getting it in a drive-through window where when you order and come around the thing, it's already prepared. You were in the drive-through for 8 seconds. Well, I mean, of course, you can get slow service, but we've all been through the drive-through, and as soon as you order it, pull right up and your food is ready. What is that? That cannot be healthy over time. Year after year after year, this is what we're putting in our body. So again, if we think about the fact that we are what we eat, what are we eating? What are we feeding our children? Okay? Why are they so lethargic? You see what I'm saying? Again, it's up to us. Why are they so lethargic? Why are we so lethargic? Never mind the children. Like, we sit around. Now let's go deeper than that. Because I said we are what we eat. But again, I started with we are what we consume. So what else are we consuming? Do we read? What do we watch? What do we listen to? Are we consuming a lot of social media nonsense where everybody has an opinion, but nothing is based on actual fact? Okay. Do we consume uh, different types of music, radio talk shows? Are we consuming a lot of hate and anger, which is throwing our body off? Again, all these things that we're consuming, are we consuming? Let's do this. Okay, we understand how important food is. We understand how important water is. But you can go. Actually did a 25-day fast with no food, just no food, just water, and it was tough. But 25 days. I've heard that you can do a water fast of a few days and still last. But how long can you last without air, oxygen? Now, I bring that up because, again, we think that we're breathing properly because we wake up and, we're just going on about our business. But if we really stop and think about how we're breathing, are we really taking a nice long inhale and exhale? Are we thinking about the way we take in the most important thing, which is the oxygen that we breathe that gives us life, which keeps the brain functioning, the heart functioning? Again, it's all these things. Again, I'm only going to be a little while on this first episode because I just want to kind of set the pace for what we're talking about. We're talking about all things healthy. A lot of times people are on the great, the mental health thing is popular right now. And that's very vague because we don't really understand. A lot of people don't understand, well, okay, what is that exactly is mental health? Well, I can't really see what you're talking about. So we're going to talk about those things. And again, being very mindful of our mental health, our spiritual health, our emotional health, okay, physical health. But are we taking in the proper things? Are we taking in enough love for self? Never mind anything, because you cannot love anybody else until we love ourselves. And if we love ourselves, we will be very mindful of what we consume. You see what I'm saying? It goes into a circular effect. It's a cycle. If we love ourselves, we won't let a whole lot of hate in. If we love ourselves, we won't let a lot of poisons by choice. Okay, food, we won't let that stuff into our bodies if, in fact, we love ourselves. We won't take in as much alcohol. Okay, and for my people that smoke, okay, a lot of times I talk about these things because me personally, I'm not against somebody smoking marijuana. I really ain't. I'm not. I used to smoke it myself. Now, my point being, it's not the marijuana that we're consuming. It's the cigar paper and what's in it, you see. And being on both sides of that, I understand the convenience and you get a little bit more high, whatever, with the blunt. But again, it's created in a lab. Okay. They want to put stuff in it to get you more addicted to that while at the same time hurting yourself. So again, we're going back to self-love. I would never tell somebody to not smoke weed and blah, 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 because again, in certain states, like the state I'm in, it's illegal. So I wouldn't want you to get jammed up that way. But if you adulting in the privacy of your own home, I mean, smoke it. By all means, smoke it. But what are you smoking it in? You see, again, we're talking about self-love and all things health. Not everybody's going to agree with what I'm talking about. That's always cool. You can put your comments in. You can always send something in about what you want to talk about. But we're talking about everything health. And we're not going to skip over things because they're uncomfortable to talk about. Okay. I know a lot of people like to drink. I've had many drinks myself, but they also do a lot of damage to the liver as we get older. You know, when you were 21 and used to drink, it's totally different when you're 51, 61, and you're still trying to drink. You're tearing up your liver. So again, all things healthy, okay? We are what we eat. We are what we consume. And real quick, I'm going to close this out because, again, I get excited talking about this because, again, it's a rabbit hole that we can go down, and we will go down it together. But for the most part, we will keep it on the healthy perspective of self-love and then seeing what you can put in your body. Clean food, fruit and vegetables, clean water, get some sun, pay attention to your breathing, wake up first thing and be grateful that you inhaled, because guess what? A lot of people won't wake up. Okay? A lot of people won't have good food. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to tell people when all you got is 99 cents, you got to go on the 99-cent menu. Hey, sometimes you got to do that. But sometimes you might find some vegetables for cheap. They go find them for cheaper than you think if you look for them. Okay? So again, I could go on, and I love doing this. I want people to get healthy. I want y'all to like really just take your time and just say, before I eat this, how does this benefit me? Other than the way it tastes, because sometimes the taste is man-made too. Scientist made. I want to start saying that, scientist made, so you really understand what we're talking about. This ain't no, okay, it grew out the ground like this. They're putting foods together. They're crossbreeding foods. The scientists are. To do what? Like, how does that benefit us as a people? How does that help us? So again, pay attention to what you eat. Pay attention to what you consume. Get some good clean water in yourself. Practice some self-love. Breathe. Get out into the sun. I know sometimes it's cold, maybe cold where you are, but still get outside and get some sun. We have to get sexy. We have to become sexy. We got to take sexy back, and we have to get serious about becoming sexy. Again, I'm Brother Sekou, and this is our first episode. Tune in. We'll go down the rabbit hole about the things that we should be eating in specifics, and we'll talk about other things related to health and how to become a sexier person. Thank you very much.